Good evening and welcome to another episode of TriRealHard. In tonight's episode, I'll be fitting this Quill stem adapter to my 1989 Diamondback Ascent to take it from a 1-inch threaded system to a 1 1/8 modern threadless or headset style system. That'll allow me to fit the modern 1 1/8 stem and the flared gravel style drop handlebars that I'm wanting to use for this super clean vintage mountain bike to gravel bike conversion. So let's open up this Quill stem adapter and see what we've got. So it comes with a couple of shims. This one is if you're starting with a 1 1/8 steerer, you put it on there and use it with that on. So I don't need that because my steerer is a 1-inch steerer tube or a 22.2mm. This one is to take the area here that the stem clamps to from 25.4, which is there, to 28.6 that I need for the 1 1/8 threadless system that I'm going to be using. So with these Quill stem adapters, it's as simple as popping the adapter in the top there and using a 6mm Allen key or hex key to tighten the bolt that's inside the top of it. It then has this black cap that just covers the top to finish it off and stop rainwater getting in. First I'm going to apply some grease to the wedge, the quill and the stem binder bolt that's inside there to ensure that it doesn't all seize up and get stuck to the inside of the steerer tube, and to make sure that one day I can get it undone again. Now I might need to just leave a bit of room there. I don't know exactly what height I need it to be for the stem. I've also got this brake cable hanger for the front cantilever brake cable. It just looks like that. It's made by Tektro and I picked it up from Wiggle for about £5. So that, for example, is going to have to go on. I've obviously got this shim that's got to go on. I have picked up some more of these shims should I need them. So this Tektro brake cable hanger is just a case of using a 4mm Allen key to loosen it and then tighten it again once it's in position. So here are my 42cm wide gravel handlebars, which are the Pro Discover handlebars, and they are fitted with this gravel specific 60mm BMC stem. So I'm just going to put these on the top and see where we're at in terms of height. Now I can see a problem straight away there. The cable hanger is very, very close to the stem. So if we just turn that around that way, you can see that there's very little space there between the top of the cable hanger and the bottom of the stem. So I don't think I'm going to manage to get the brake cable in there and down at the right angle. So I think I'm going to have to raise the handlebars and the stem up to create a little bit more space so that the brake cable can actually fit into the hanger where it needs to go. So I've got a few different size spaces here, so we'll just try them out and see what works. Now these are all 1 1/8 spaces, so they will require the shim for them to fit properly. Also, the Tektro brake hanger is a 1 1/8 or 28.6mm internal diameter, so that also needs the shim. I'm going to try the 10mm and the 2 or 3mm, whatever that is, and leave the 15mm for now, mainly because it'll look uglier if it's all the way up there in the air. So let's see what it'll look like now with the handlebars on. Yeah, I think the brake cable's got a better chance of fitting in there now. I'll just try it. I'll just grab a bit of brake cable and try it. So I've got a little piece of old brake cable here. It's got the ferrules fitted to the end already. So if we put that into the brake cable hanger, run it under, and just see where we're at with it. So it needs to be running along the handlebars there and into the shifter. So yeah, I mean, it's still pretty tight, but I think that's probably okay. Like I said, the higher I lift the stem and the handlebars, in my opinion, the uglier it's going to look. I mean, I'm not going for a slammed effect. I do want some comfort, but loads of spacers never looks good. I'll show you a photo that I found on Reddit with loads of spacers and not the correct shim, with it all slipping left to right like Jenga. So I'll show you that now. I'm happy that there's just about enough space with the 10mm spacer and the 2mm spacer. So hopefully you can see that there's a bit of a gap here at the top where one shim on its own isn't deep enough. So I'm just going to cut a section with a hacksaw of this shim and fit it to the top, just to make up the difference. The main reason is you don't want to be clamping your stem onto a thicker tube at the bottom and a thinner tube at the top. That's going to mean that the stem bolt's going to need to go really tight and it's not going to tighten up properly. You'll probably end up with your handlebars actually slipping if you don't sort out this problem. So yeah, I'm going to have to cut a little section of this shim. So I'm actually just going to use my steerer tube cutting guide to cut this bit of shim. Now this hacksaw and the hacksaw blade is actually for cutting carbon fibre steerer tubes, so I don't actually have the right blade for aluminium, so I'm just going to have to keep going at it. I might wear out the teeth on the first blade and just have to replace it for another blade, but we'll get the job done, I think. Nearly there. I might just flip it over and cut it the other way up. That's pretty close. Just that little bit there to get through now. And there we have it. About a 10mm section of shim. So let's see if it fits. Oh yeah, that's looking great. Perfect. It's pretty flush with the top now. So now I think I might actually put this little section at the bottom, because then just the spacers and this brake cable hanger will be on the thinner piece of shim, and this nice thick shim will be exactly where we want it for the stem. So what we're going to do is just feed that down inside like that, run the other shim over the top, there we go, clicked into place. So now we'll just put the handlebars back on and see where we're at. Okay, well I think that's looking pretty good. To me it looks decent. So I think I'm just going to tighten everything up and see if it is working okay. Now this BMC stem actually has Torx T25 bolts, which shows how modern it is. That seems to be something that they're doing in more recent times. I think it's to do with the number of contact points. So an Allen key bolt can end up rounding out, which isn't very good. So this has got a torque setting of 6 Newton meters, but for now I'm just going to do it finger tight, and I'll go back round and torque everything up later if I'm happy with it. That's strange, it's not really tightening down. For some reason, the brake cable hanger is just staying loose. So I'm going to try and tighten it a bit further. I think it's because it's sitting on top of the lock nut from the headset. So I'm just going to swap the spacers around and see if I can get it to work. It's because when I put the smaller section of shim down the bottom, it fitted into the quill, back into the thinner neck of the quill stem adapter. So then it slips in there and that ends up just moving about. So I think we are actually going to have to put the thicker section in first to cover that gap. Otherwise, things aren't going to clamp together properly, and then just fit that one over the top. So now that I'm happy with the position of this, I'm going to tighten the bolt in the quill stem adapter to the recommended torque setting, which is 18 to 20 Newton meters. So let's do that now. That took quite a bit of effort actually. It needs to be pretty tight, that. I don't think I would have tightened it that much if I was doing it by hand, which just shows that you really need a torque wrench. This one was 20 quid in the sale from Wiggle. It's their own brand, which I think they call Jobsworth. Yeah, Jobsworth. Now let's see if we can actually get this brake cable hanger tightened up properly. Yeah, that's gone tight this time. So I'll just push the stem down onto the spacers because there's a little bit of play to remove that. And then I'll tighten up the Torx bolts on the stem to the 6 Newton meters that they require. Seeing as though I've already got the torque wrench out now. So I'm just checking that everything's lined up. I think it is. I might have to adjust it later, but we can get it done properly for now. So this time we just want 6 Newton meters. I guess that's really because normally you'll be clamping onto a carbon steerer tube with these kind of stems. Do a little bit on one side, a little bit on the other, so you don't over tighten one too quickly. You have to remember to click the silver collar of this type of torque wrench up to lock it in place, otherwise it will slip and give you a different torque setting if you're not careful. Yeah, 6 Newton meters there. And 6 there. So that's fitted properly now. I might end up greasing those spacers later on, pushing it down if I need to. So this work stand actually has a cool feature that you can grab a handle here and flip the whole work stand forwards like that. And the last thing I need to do is just try this bung. So that is a black bung that fits in the top there to just finish it off nicely. If you've got this far, then thanks for watching to the end.
If you've already seen Eric's Spindatt update on the trasherbash builds, then you'll know that I've actually gone one step further already, and I've fitted a gold top cap, which I actually custom made from the black bung you just saw at the end of that video, and a Chinelli gold blingy top cap. So yeah, creating that top cap will be the next video that I'm bringing to you. But please subscribe and like, because there's something exciting coming your way. And you might have already seen it on the TriRealHard Instagram, but I have a piece of mountain biking history here. It's a height right. It's pretty much the original dropper post back from 1984, and I'm going to be getting this onto my Diamondback Ascent from 1989. So I think that's a pretty good fit. Got 80s tech with an 80s frame. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this on the bike. I think it's going to take a little bit of work, because that frame has actually been heated up with a blowtorch to free up a seat post that was stuck. So I think the inside of it is going to need some cleaning, maybe a bit of filing, but that's all part of the building process. We love it. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope you're enjoying my Spindatt trasherbash build.